Hello, beautiful souls. I'm Esther, also known as Schmexy Pants. Welcome to my channel. Today I wanted to talk about my experience after 1 year of being a student of A Course in Miracles. So for those who haven't heard of it, A Course in Miracles was a text and it's it's a book that's in several parts that was channeled in the 1970s. And it promises to help you attain a more peaceful life, have more miracles in your life. Pretty darn good. I first heard of A Course of Miracles maybe 4 or 5 years ago. I had been at a metaphysical shop and seen it out of the corner of my eye and didn't really pay it much mind because it was a really large, thick book, and I do like reading, but I didn't really want to make the investment at that time. So I kind of forgot about it. And then a few years later, back at a metaphysical shop, looking for some crystals or some decks, I was really kind of in an angry state at the shop, just kind of looking to calm myself down, when I came across this deck, which if you've been following me here on YouTube or on Instagram for a long time, you've probably seen. The Universe Has Your Back by Gabrielle Bernstein. And in it, there is mention of A Course in Miracles. And then listening to most of what Gabrielle Bernstein talks about, a lot of it is based on A Course in Miracles. So I was very intrigued. So I decided to go on YouTube and to a couple other places like Amazon to read like a little bit of a preview of Course in Miracles, and I'll be honest, I was turned off. So the big thing that kind of struck me about it that I didn't understand the first few times that I tried with A Course in Miracles was that it is not specifically a Christian text. So it's not a Christian text, it's just kind of for everybody. However, because the channel that comes through, says that they're Jesus, being somebody who was not raised in a Christian tradition, kind of that aspect of it turned me off. The text was very dense. I didn't really understand much about what it was saying. It really read like a Bible or a Torah or something like that. So I really kind of put it to the back of my mind. So fast forward a few years after that, we're in, 2022, we've lived through a couple of years of pandemic. I've gone through a lot of like personal tumult and just stuff in my life. And I keep hearing different speakers who I really adore talk about A Course in Miracles. I hear mention of it from Wayne Dyer, from Gabrielle Bernstein, as I mentioned. I hear mention of it from Abraham Hicks, Bob Proctor, I'm pretty sure, Tony Robbins. I might not be 100% all of them, but many of the speakers who I listen to and learn from speak from it. So I decide, okay, I'm gonna try it again to listen to or read it. And I don't know where exactly I came to the reasoning that maybe I should just skip past the text right to the daily lessons. But one of the speakers I had listened to was basically like, it's about the lessons. It's not so much about the text. You won't really fully understand the text until you do the daily lessons. The daily lessons don't take a lot of time. It's commitment, one per day at most. You can, do a lesson for a few days at a time. You just want to do one at most. And it guides you to a more peaceful existence. So I found a couple different speakers on YouTube doing the daily lessons, and by my original day 2 in October 2022, just after my 38th birthday, I decided, let me buy a Kindle copy of this course and let me do the daily lessons. So something that really struck me about, the introduction to the lessons was the description that there's no order of difficulty in miracles. So big or small, miracles are natural, they're happening all the time. It's just our ability to see that. That there's no reality except for love or God or the universe. They use the terms interchangeably, but really the reality is love, and that the opposite of love is fear. And most of us are, just seeing the reality of fear that we've created. And it also says that if miracles aren't happening regularly, then something has gone wrong. So that all sounded really great to me, and I had a healthy dose of skepticism. But I decided, you know what, let me just stick with the lessons for a week. And the lessons started out really simple. Stuff like look around your space a few times a day and say, this isn't real. This hand isn't real. This deck isn't real. This phone case isn't real. And it became like a meditative process, and there was some resistance with the languaging, the way our human brains work. I found it hard to wrap my head around, but I stuck with it. So as I stuck with it, I started to notice changes in myself. I did absolutely become more peaceful. I noticed more synchronicities, more positive things happening. I found myself reacting to things differently than I normally would, in a positive way most of the time. And I've noticed things like interpersonal relationships becoming stronger and better. I've noticed that I've become a better advocate for myself. I've been living more authentically, doing more of what I wanted to do. I've noticed shifts in my body, that I've gotten stronger. I'm somebody who, has been recovering from some physical and emotional disability type stuff. So I really noticed small shifts. Something else I noticed within that first year, because I'm now continuing, was the breakdown of things that weren't really working for me. I've had transitions in relationships, transitions even with the way I relate to social media, things that were really painful. And it really felt more like initiation, because as I let those things go and continued on with the course, even when it felt really, really difficult, I did start to notice more and more miracles. People who I loved, who I'd lost touch with, coming back into my life in ways that felt pretty effortless. Opportunities aligning themselves with me, thinking of, wanting an opportunity and it falling into my lap. Sometimes it's just a trickle. Other times it was big, wide openings. It's more my own resistance, trying to remember that there's no order of difficulty in miracles, that big things and small things can come. And I have seen that come to pass, but it's still, working with my human brain and my human mind, remembering oftentimes when I have chosen fear, to choose again, which is something that Gabrielle Bernstein says a lot, and choose love. What's the more loving thing? Remembering the daily mantra of the lesson that I'm working through. So this is getting kind of long, and I will speak to this more in the coming days, I'm sure, because I am starting my second year of the lessons and now starting to read more of the text. But ultimately, the course, promises to help there be more peace within yourself, for miracles to happen, because they're happening all around us. It's just, seeing them. I will say, I have noticed a big difference this year. And it's something that for me, part of why I initially said, let me just stick with it for a week, is I'm somebody who oftentimes will start these 30-day challenges or different things. And I would say about half the time I don't complete them. So, it was a big ask for 365 days to stick with it. And for me, I didn't do it perfectly. There were days that I stuck for several days on lessons, either because I was traveling or with people, or just I really wanted to integrate a lesson on a deeper level. I didn't feel like I was really fully present with it. And at the same time, I feel like the amount of shift for the positive that I've seen in my life in the last year, even though there were moments that felt so stuck and how can I live through this? The shifts have been monumental. The shifts have been incredible, positive. I find myself responding, not reacting a lot more. I find myself, when something goes wrong, seeing the positive in it more. I also find myself not jumping to attack as often, trying to see other people's perspectives more frequently. I feel like there's more equanimity and neutrality within me. I'm somebody which, if you've been following this channel or following me for a long time, it probably doesn't seem like it, but I'm somebody who can be very quick-tempered. Not one of my finer traits, but I found myself kind of giving more grace to both myself and to others. And for me, that's a huge gift. That's something that I've been working towards for many, many years. And I find just like quantum leap is the best way I can describe some of the shifts that have happened in myself and in my life in this past year. The quality of my life has certainly improved. I went into the book with a lot of skepticism, but also really hoping like, fix me, fix my life, change my life. And it really is just about small shifts in perception. And that truly is the miracle. So I hope that this spoke to somebody. I hope it made sense. If you want more A Course in Miracle content, please let me know. I would love to build a community around this, to talk about this, to know what your experiences are with it. Have you come across it? Yeah, I would love to talk more about it with anybody who's interested. So I hope that gives you some food for thought, some insight into the course, just the first little toe dippings. I'll get into it more at a later date. And I hope you have a beautiful day.